54 years in the ministry. I'm living. I'm far beyond what I expect. The Lord is blessing my life.
Amen. Amen.
How in the world? When we came to Canada, oh, si Mrs. magtrabaho na yun kasi imagine sa Canada, you cannot live by one paycheck. Yun ang ano dito. Even mga pastors, you cannot live by one paycheck dito. Sabi ko, no, from the start. 100% so that I'll be 100% in the work. And my wife will be home and raising children and all that. How in the world? Buhay na buhay kami at saka daw pa. And everything is provided. This is the Malachi promise. If you do obey Him, He will pour the blessings of heaven. That we have not enough container to contain. The blessing of God. So, it was upheld by the prophets. And then, number 4, it was commanded by Christ under grace. They say, oh, it's under the law. How come Jesus could have abrogated it? When tithing, the topic of tithing was brought up before Jesus, He could have said, oh, sa Old Testament na yun. That's under the law. But Jesus said here, let's open to Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Matthew 23:23. What does it say here? Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin. Ibig sabihin mga small vegetables ito. Kahit to the minutiae, to the smallest insignificant vegetable, may 1/10 pa kayo nabigay. Masyadong stricto mga Pharisees. But you have neglected the more important matters of the law. What is that? Justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. He could have said, you practice mercy, faithfulness, and justice. Never mind about tithing. It's in the Old Testament. No, He said, practice all of it, including tithing. Jesus Christ upheld the teaching, the process, or the practice of tithing. It's not only a practice under the law. It's a practice long before the law. It's a practice during the law. And it's a practice after the law. The age of grace. Matthew 23:23. So this is clear. That's why when you say, Christian stewardship, oh, that's grace giving, wala nang tithing dyan. No, it includes tithing. Very clear. So Christ condemns the failure of the Pharisees to observe judgment, mercy, and faithfulness. On the other hand, He affirms the practice of tithing, even of insignificant vegetables. Wow. So tithing is not legally binding. Under grace, yes. But morally obligatory. When we give our tithes under grace, it must be voluntary. It must be out of it. The Apostle Paul makes that clear. That when we give, it's not by compulsion. Hindi ang pinipilit ka. Sabi ng wow, sayang. It must be cheerful giving because God loves but cheerful. So walang pilitan. If there's a church today na pinipilit ng mga tao, mga members, course, we know some folks na pag-member ka dyan. Pati yung trabaho mo, kukuha na doon. Doon na. Ang sweldo, ang 10%, kinukuha na nila doon. No. How can you escape that? Doon na sa employer mo. So, you know, but we don't do that. It's only between you and God. But the point is, this is the secret scriptures. Walang pilitan, but you've got to know that this is of moral obligation. So the song says, trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, to be blessed in Jesus, but to trust and obey. So I'll read just to close another story, okay? In closing, this is another story just to close our message. There's a story of a man in one of these little country churches was asked to serve as treasurer. He was asked to serve as treasurer for the new year. This man of a little country church. His church had been unpainted and weather-beaten. Lumang-luma na. Simbahan. Walang pinta, wala. Dilapidated na ang church building. For years, at certain times during the storms, the roof leaked. The roof leaked. Kung muulan o may storm. The congregation had only a part-time pastor. They could not afford. That's why they cannot afford. So walang full-time. Part-time lang. And besides, this part-time pastor also served 3 other congregations. May circuit siya. Pare-pareho na yung problema nila siguro sa other congregations. With the same, with this problem. Okay? So the people in general were discouraged. And nothing was happening. This man, who operated the local granary, kasi farming, it's farming country, okay? A local granary, finally agreed to be treasurer of the church for the new year if, this is a condition, because he was asked to be a treasurer. I will be a treasurer if the congregation would promise not to call for any accounting of the funds until the entire year was finished. So walang financial statement sa quarterly until lang sa end of the year. Since they were a small church and knew each other well, everyone agreed to this proposition. Only a few months after the new church year had begun, the treasurer began to make suggestions to the board on improvements which could be done on their church with the surplus in the treasury. Shocked that there should be money available, they finally took his word for it that the balance was indeed in the bank. That year, they painted the church and put on a new roof. They put more gravel on the parking lot and built a nice white fence around the entire compound. They brought in a full-time pastor. And when the report was given at the end of the year, they learned the church had been generous in its contributions to missions. Amazed that the church could achieve so much financially in a single year, they pressed this marvelous new treasurer to learn the secret. Anong sekreto? They were all aghast when he told them that his secret was plain and easy. He said, all of you bring your grain at harvest time into my granary. Di ba? Every time, farmers have a lot. So they brought the grain at harvest time into his granary. when I figured out how much I owed each one of you, I just deducted 10% for the church and gave you the balance. Whatever saying anything about the deduction, you live happily and got along well on the 9/10. And God's work in our community has prospered more this year than ever before since we have lived here. Amazing if the church members would give it time. Amazing. What would be the 1 year time left? So the treasurer here, this man here, has got the biblical knowledge and also what? Practical wisdom. But it's nothing new. This is what God has been teaching us all about. Kung gawin lang natin ang inuutos ng Panginoon, we would have no problem. Maybe the problem is me because I'm disobedient. Hindi natin tinutupad kasi. So I hope, brothers and sisters, you should have this clear biblical concept of stewardship. That includes tithing. Heavenly Father, put your hand of blessing upon this food. We know we have just started. There are many, many more things. So help us to just obey what you have taught us. In Jesus' name, amen.